You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Starrett. I go by the name of Star. Um, this is meditation is more like a contemplation today. Know that you're safe. Take a breath. Your eyes can be open or closed, but just listen closely to the thoughts. Move everything outside away. It's a clarion call. And you can go ahead and leave me up on screen. That's fine. A call to recognize you versus them. A call to recognize truth versus falsehood. A call to recognize love versus war. Take a deep breath and just listen. As the absolute, I am not even that formless and indestructible witnessing principle. That inner witnessing itself happens to the absolute me, yet never affects me, nor do I ever become that witnessing awareness or anything that it perceives. Similar to how an object of perception is like a wave on the ocean of pure awareness, so too is awareness itself. And every universe it imagines to be, like an empty ripple on the faceless freedom, without even subtle substance. That witnessing principle, also known as God, I am, or awareness, is itself an appearance to me. To whom does this inner witnessing occur? This question may aid you in realizing yourself beyond ignorance and illumination, both. The experiential realization of this occurs only in contrast to the depths of subtle awareness. Otherwise, it remains just an image in your mind, which itself exists only as a wave within awareness. Nothing within awareness can exit awareness, but you already exist outside of awareness. You just have to realize this. The absolute you is that which has never appeared, and even awareness or God is known, thus an appearance. Hence, it cannot be absolute. It cannot be the final nature of you. Objects and their universal subject are all ultimately imagined states within the stateless. No scientific instrument made of the substance of this world, imagination, can reach the source of the consciousness, God, who imagines these instruments to begin with. But you, living Son of God, can. Because in truth, you are not the Son of God, but the Father of the Father. You are God's timeless ancestor. Even awareness bows to you. In simple terms, be present to your innermost sense of being. At the subtlest, purest level you currently have access to. And then discern at that experiential level that even what feels to be most intimately you is definitely not you. It too is merely an appearance. Keep doing this and you will slip deeper and deeper into that absolute freedom and be fooled less and less by the veils of consciousness. So what is my deepest point of view and assumption about myself that keeps creating things, reflections that I don't prefer? Those reflections that show my causal seed belief has a mentionable degree of distortion in the law of one. Hone in on that frequency cloud. Detect intuitively in the depths of the causal body the definition or nebula of assumptions and dissolve it all. All meaning awareness, love, and light. Or simply shift to a higher vibrational nebula of intention and assumption that will form a less distorted, more preferred point of attraction for your subtle and physical imagination, your reality, to then flow out from. Anything we are attentively aware of while being aware that we're aware of it, we realize our freedom from. I am aware of the body, thus I am not the body. I am aware of the senses, thus I am not the senses. I am aware of the small mind, thus I am not the small mind. I is then simply I, unconditioned, formless intelligence, also known as God, naked, wordless I am. Explore in this way if you desire freedom and joy to hold sway. Now I invite you to consider these words that I've said. Some of them are stretching the limits of what you thought before. But the God that is in me is the same God that is in you. And it is vast and it is unknowable. But that doesn't mean it is unreachable. Blessed are the people whose awareness is sparking a realization that is more than of this world. It is in this world, and it is shining its light on all of humanity. No matter what we see, the unreality that we see outside of ourselves is being asked to be looked at within. Any belief system is changeable. Any hook is a realization that there's something there that can be let go of, that can be realized as this nebula of coagulated stuff that is in our guts that can be released. I know this is true for me because it is true for so many that I am aware of. The shift is happening very quickly. We have the power. The power is in us. The power is us. The power is now. And the power to exude this love into the world of chaos is exactly what the world is calling for now. And I invite you, as you go into silence for a couple of minutes, to contemplate this, to inquire within. Because yes is the answer. Yes is always the answer. And it's always available. And so now we sit. We sit in silence, knowing that this one life is our life. And so it is.
You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome.
Good morning and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living St. George's Sunday celebration. We are delighted to have you here with us today. My name is Bill Smith and I'll be your host today. We are still delighted to have you here today. Just a little bit about Centers for Spiritual Living St. George. We are an open, loving, and inclusive community that supports thinking creatively and living a deeply spiritual life. Our mission statement is as follows. Our mission is to provide spiritual tools for personal and global transformation. Our purpose is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence, to awaken our community to its divine nature and the greatest expression of who we are. Our vision is a world that works for everyone. Our values are love, freedom, participation, enthusiasm, acceptance, contribution, cooperation, and lastly but not leastly, humor. Our team this week is we have Marina behind the curtain, making sure all this works. Star did our meditation, and what a lovely contemplation that was. I love the term God's timeless ancestor. Very nice, Star. Thank you. I'm the host. Cheryl Barlow is going to be performing our music for us today, and Alan Stanley is going to be doing our reading. And Reverend Savanna Noelle is going to be giving the talk today. So I'll turn it over to Cheryl and start with our first song today.
Good morning, Bill. Okay, let's do that. Let's just go into that sacred space of knowing that all is good. All good, holy, holy. All good, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is good, holy, holy. All love, holy, holy. All love, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is love, holy, holy. Now we're going to invite Star back to the service to do our invocation. Good morning, Star.
Good morning. Hi, everyone. Okay, just relax and close your eyes, and I invite you to join us. As there is only one mind in play, that mind is beautiful. That mind is beyond all things that are happening outside of us. That mind is inside. Join with me in that mind right here and right now. That realization, that wonder, that magnificence is seated deep within each and every one of us. I know this for sure because it is that way with me. It speaks. It helps. It lifts. It is the light that shines from each and every one of us. And so knowing this, I set today's beautiful togetherness with CSL St. George in devotion, knowing it is all good, that there is nothing but good right here and right now. And so I bless each and every one of us, knowing that from within each and every one of us, we are shining a light into the world, the light of truth, the light of joy, the light of peace, the light of unity, the light of health, the light of abundance. All of this is happening right here and right now. So I give thanks to the law of being that says yes, 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 yes. And I invite us all to nod in agreement. And so it is.
So it is. Thank you so much, Star. So these words are going to be on screen so that you can sing along and just affirm our good. This song by Ricky Byers. All good, holy, holy. All good, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is good, holy, holy. All love. All love, holy, holy. All love, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is love, holy, holy. All one. All one, holy, holy. All one, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is one, holy, holy. All God. All God, holy, holy. All God, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is God, holy, holy. And all good. All good, holy, holy. All good, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is good, holy, holy. Now Alan Stanley is going to join the service, and he is going to do our sacred reading. Good morning, Alan.
Morning, Cheryl. Wonderful song. Thank you. We're going to read our sacred covenant, which we developed to affirm our new minister. So please read along with me. That helps us increase the effectiveness of this particular affirmation. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life, I know that I am one with all its blessed expressions, which include the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to express God, I therefore know that my new minister reveals wholeness. I further know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which we believe, for it is written, "Let us learn to draw the divine substance down into our own lives, and as freely as it has been given to us, let us give it to others. Thus alone shall we be made whole," by Ernest Holmes. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister revealed before me as growing the center in joy and prosperity. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing the truth about myself, for I live in the presence of God. I demonstrate wisdom through the mature understanding of the wholeness of life. I am accountable and willing to take full responsibility for my actions. I participate in and support the nurturance and guidance of the community. I act from wholeness and congruence in thought, word, and action. I walk the talk. Now, please embrace your vision for our new minister. I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, knowing that they are revealed in a way that expresses God and serves the highest and greatest good for all who are touched by their presence. I'm grateful. So it is.
And so it is. Thank you so much, Alan.
Thank you, Cheryl.
So for February, we have been focusing on the inner life, and today's topic is the ultimate fear buster. I was looking at quotes for this particular topic and found this quote by Emmett Fox, which is so powerful. He wrote, "There is no difficulty that enough love will not conquer, no disease that love will not heal, no door that enough love will not open. It makes no difference how deep set the trouble, how hopeless the outlook, how muddled the tangle, how great the mistake. A sufficient realization of love will dissolve it all." And Ernest Holmes agrees, writing this, "Fear is always based on the supposition that we're unprotected, rejected, friendless. If the fearful mind would entertain love and the harmony and peace that go with it, then it must turn from everything that denies this love and, trusting in divine guidance, open its being to the influx of love." I love that, open its being to the influx of love. And I think this is also a reminder that we need to love ourselves and we need to offer that love to others. We talk about spiritual bypass in this community, and it's a delicate balance between honoring someone's experience and knowing the truth about them. And that's what this song is a reminder of. You there in my heart, always apart since I can remember. You feel it, but you're not alone. I'll be your touchstone, a voice pure and tender, and I'll hold you in the sadness, knowing your good is gladness. Sprinkle prayer petals on the egg. Truth will have the power to undo the fear that devours you, revealing all until love awakes. You might be unsteady now, don't see how, but you can't stop trying. Just hold on and breathe deep and believe me, 'cause there's no denying that I'll hold you in the sadness, knowing your good is gladness. Sprinkle prayer petals on the egg. Truth will have the power to undo the pain that devours you, revealing all until love awakes. You there in my heart, always apart since I can remember. Okay, Bill, back to you this morning.
Thank you, Cheryl. That was lovely.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Now I'd like to introduce our speaker for today, Reverend Savanna Noelle. Savannah, you there?
I'm here.
Oh, great. Welcome back.
Thank you. Good to
Glad
be
to
back.
have you back again.
Yeah,
You're in the Seattle area, is that correct?
yeah, that's right.
Are you guys experiencing the same polar conditions that we are down here in Utah?
We are, but I think it's kind of normal for us, although snow is not. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us today, and I'll turn it over to you for your talk.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am super grateful to be back with you. It's good to see some familiar faces now that I've gotten a little bit acclimated to some people in your community, and I'm really looking forward to joining all of you after. I am going to be talking about something today that has that I've been sitting with this entire week. And you know how when you start to write a talk, sometimes it can just transform because what is happening in the world is pulling on our heartstrings or pulling on us to go into a deeper place. And the topic for today is all about the inner life, and the ultimate fear buster is the name of it. And I have to admit that when I first started writing this about fear, I thought, this is not really the direction I want to go. What I really want to talk about is how, not only how we engage our fear, but I want to talk about bravery and courage, because I think that's what's being called for right now in our world. Many of you may or may not know this about me, but I spent a span of 10 years teaching and living in the country of Ukraine. And I went there about 6 times, working at our Science Mind Center there. And I want to share some of my experience there in light of what's happening right now, because it is very, very personal to me. It's very much on my mind and my heart, and for many of us in the world right now. And I remember being there during 2008, during one of their revolutions, during the Orange Revolution, as well as in 2014. I was also there. And I've been touched by all that's going on right now in their country. And back in 2014, I had been asked by one of our ministers there if I would lead a peace conference over there. She had a last minute emergency and couldn't make it. And I said, so how soon do you need me to get there? And she said, you've got 4 days. And I was like, okay. And at that time, one of the, you may remember this, there was a Malaysian airliner that had been shot down in eastern Ukraine. And of course, I was naturally afraid and wondering, like, what am I going to expect on the ground there? Is it safe for me to be there? She said, you know the country, you know this culture, you know my community. And so I decided to dive in and got on a plane. And I found myself flying from JFK to Switzerland and Switzerland into Ukraine. And I remember that second leg of my flight was terrifying because the plane was pretty much empty. There were no Americans going into Ukraine. As I said, I didn't know what to expect when I got there. But once I landed and got to the retreat center where I was staying, I realized that everything around me was actually quite calm and quite peaceful. You couldn't even tell that there were military there or any type of discord. Of course, it was happening in another part of the country. But what unfolded and transpired there was a really beautiful experience. There were refugees who had come from Eastern Ukraine to the retreat. And there was one particular evening where I was leading a process with them that you might be familiar with, that we do in Centers for Spiritual Living organization, primarily at our teen camps, at our youth camps. And you have to know that 20 years ago, my first trip to Ukraine, I can't even believe it's been that long, but when I first went over there, I introduced this process called AB Love. And it's an experience where you have two groups of people, and one group stands in the center of a space with their eyes closed, and you've got music playing, and the other group comes in and just gives love by means of energy, by hugs, It might be words of affirmation. And at our teen camps, our teens love this process. And they love it for so many reasons, primarily because, they get to be up close and personal with each other, but also because they might not have experienced this type of love before in their lives. And I know for me personally, having experienced it as a teenager in our movement, that it totally transformed my life. Because you can't see the person who's actually giving the love. It's just an exchange of it, right? And I remember there was my translator there said to me 20 years ago, he said, I don't think that this kind of process is possible with our people here. I don't think that unconditional love exists in the world. And I asked him to experiment with it and to just lean into it and to be with it, to experiment with it for himself, to just see. So he went through the process. And at the very end of it, he said to me, I was completely wrong about this. I absolutely believe that this type of energy and love exchange is possible. It's just that our people, we don't engage like this. So fast forward 20 years later to this retreat where I am, 2014, in the middle of a revolution. And by this point, our community knew they've carried this process with them through all these years, and they look forward to it. And so here we are at sunset, and we've created this beautiful heart of candles on the ground. And I did this process with them. And all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I see a group of people walking towards me. And it just so happened to be these Ukrainian refugees who had been displaced from their homes in Eastern Ukraine. And they were very curious. It's like they were drawn to the light. They were drawn to the consciousness created there. And these little ones, these little children walked in and without any instruction from me, closed their eyes, put their hands down to receive the love that we were all giving one another. It was such a powerful moment for me because it taught me that love is the greatest. I mean, we know this. Love is the greatest power there is. And this is the love and the peace that we want to hold for ourselves right now and for this planet. And so I want to talk less about fear and more about bravery and courage. That is bravery, courage, authenticity, tenacity, willpower, grit, this inner resolve and a strong consciousness and conviction of our faith in the miraculous, that the miraculous does exist. That is what I am leaning into as the ultimate right now. I could talk about how we operate from love or fear, which is always a good way to look at the challenges that we face. But admittedly, I've been processing and texting multiple friends of mine in Ukraine right now who are terrified for their homes, who have left with nothing to try to flee their country, who are bunkered down in bomb shelters, who are separated from their families, who are having to draw arms. And I'm reading this, and it is such a surreal feeling in real time to then sit with the question of what can I do? What can we do when they are unsure of where to put their faith right now, right? I could talk about how fear comes from ego, from false beliefs, from thinking that is not aligned. But when I'm receiving this in the world of effect, the conditions, these texts across the world, where my friends and who I call family are now having to prepare to go into this war, right? I question that whole dance that we do in consciousness of survival versus allowing spirit and life to operate through us, and where do we put our attention and our power? And do I just tell them, do not be afraid? It's all in your mind. I feel this would not be the productive use of this teaching. It's one of those age-old questions of how do I make sense of this and not be insensitive to the conditions of the world, and at the same time know that we are still spiritual beings having a human experience and incarnation here and now. So I don't say that we must rid ourselves of fear. Rather, we must learn to work with and engage our fear differently. So our focus then is to move to love, is to move to trust, is to be in a space of trusting and knowing and visualizing the world that we want to see. That is the power I think we have over conditions. And to me, that is bravery. We could allow ourselves to go down the rabbit hole of scarcity and lack and limitation and separation, right? It is brave to be on the conscious path. But to be honest, sometimes I don't want to be brave. I don't want to be courageous. I just want to go back to bed sometimes and be a little child, right? And be a kid with no responsibility and no expectations and no worries of the fears of the future. People say that bravery is feeling the fear and doing something anyway. And I do think that it is that. But I also think that it's a courageous and quiet path sometimes, bravery. Glennon Doyle, in her book Untamed, says that bravery means living from the inside out. Brave means in every uncertain moment, turning inward, feeling for the knowing, and speaking it aloud. It is being true to yourself. It is trusting your own voice than the voice of the crowd and of others. Brave is not asking the crowd what is brave. Brave is deciding for oneself. I recently asked a group of friends what they felt was a brave act. And here's what they said: asking for money at your workplace, ending a relationship, moving for a relationship across the world. I know I've done that. Moving for a job, a health challenge, going through a huge death or loss. Having a hard conversation is brave. Taking your kindergartner to their school for the first time is a brave moment. A tough parenting moment is brave. Walking beside a loved one who is in the midst of their transition. Doing something new that totally scares you. Watching your child or a family member go through tremendous pain or hardship is brave. Living through a war in your country that is being torn apart is absolutely brave. There is this saying out there, be kind, for everyone is fighting a battle that you know nothing about. This knowing reminds us to be compassionate and to come together as a community, because community, as we know, helps us remember how loved and supported we are. I am so, so grateful for this teaching. I am grateful for this community and for the communities that we have that continue to create this consciousness of what it is that we want to see. We are needed right now, my friends. So needed. What I also know is that Ukrainians are resilient people. We are resilient people. Throughout the centuries, we can look back over time and we have read about and witnessed bravery in insurmountable situations. For me, bravery means being loyal to myself. It means continuing the practice of turning away from the world of effect and tuning into my spirit, to my inner life. It's launching forward anyway when the naysayers and the fearmongers are there to tell you otherwise. It's trusting yourself. Do you really, really trust yourself? You might remember the story of Joan of Arc. I wanted to bring her into this talk because I love this story. She was, just to remind you, she was a peasant girl living in medieval France at the age of 13. She started to actually hear voices, which she determined that these voices were sent by God to give her a mission of huge importance, to save France by expelling its enemies and to install Charles as the rightful king. She had no military training, and she convinced the Prince Charles to allow her to lead a French army to the besieged city of Orleans, where she had a momentous victory over the English and the French allies. And as part of her divine mission, she took a vow of chastity. And at the age of 16, after her father tried to arrange a marriage for her, she convinced a local court that she would not be forced to accept this marriage. And did you know that in a private audience at his castle, Joan of Arc won the future Charles the Seventh over by supposedly revealing information that only a messenger of God could know? They say that the details of that conversation were never known. And then in May of 1428, she made her way to Vaucouleurs, a nearby stronghold of those that were loyal to Prince Charles. And she was initially rejected by the local magistrate. She continued to persist. A small band of followers came with her who believed that the claims that she had as a virgin was destined to save France. So she decided to cut off all her hair. She dressed in men's clothing, and she took an 11-day journey across enemy territory to the prince's palace. And against all the advice of counselors and generals, Charles granted her request, and she set off then to fend off the siege of Orleans in 1429. She was dressed in white armor, and she was riding a white horse. She was later in her life she was ordered to answer over 70 charges against her, including witchcraft, heresy, and dressing like a man. And so they tried to get rid of her. They tried to discredit her and discredit Charles, who owed his coronation to her. And in May 1431, after a year in captivity and under a threat of death, she relented. She signed a confession denying that she had ever received any divine guidance. And several days later, she defied the orders again, putting more men's clothes on, and they pronounced her death sentence. And on the morning of May 30th, she was 19 years old. She was taken to the marketplace and she was burned at the stake. Now, what is amazing about this story is that her fame only increased after her death. And then 20 years later, a new trial was ordered by Charles VII to completely clear her name. Long before she was canonized in 1920, Joan of Arc had attained what they call a mythic stature, inspiring numerous works of art and literature over the centuries and becoming the patron saint of France. And in 1909, she was beatified in the famous Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. And there's a statue inside the cathedral that pays tribute to her legacy. Her story, as I was reading this, I was like, gosh, it inspired me so much. 19 years old. Her bravery, her tenacity to her mission and her vision, no matter the cost. Being true to herself, no matter what, and her intuitive and spiritual gifts. I hope that her story inspires you to listen to your innermost nudges and your innermost calling, inspiring you to take on that thing that is most pressing and most scary, to face the challenge directly, to ask God, Spirit, the divine, for guidance and ease. One of my favorite therapists, she writes many books. Her name is Dr. Alexandra Solomon. She says, although it may feel paradoxical at first glance, what I know for sure is that we are stronger and braver when we are able to tolerate ambivalence. Holding on to competing truths bolsters our ability to be resilient in the face of stress. Something I notice about myself when I am being asked to be brave is I procrastinate. I distract myself. Do you procrastinate? Why do we procrastinate? We delay, and my procrastination, I think, has kept me away from my fear of failing, from the fear of being great, and what that might mean if I were to fully, authentically be bold enough to live out my purpose. It keeps me from experiencing greatness and the possibility of something greater. Staying small and uncomfortable means that I don't have to stretch. Because what is the risk of showing up for ourselves? What is the risk of showing up for others? The risk might be failure or heartbreak. It might be rejection, or it might be something amazing. It actually might be success. It might be more than we possibly could have imagined. And that is the leap in trust. Being brave, as I said before, means trusting yourself and trusting life and finding evidence that you can trust life. So what if, just think about these questions. What if showing up for yourself meant that you could have everything that you ever wanted? What if showing up for yourself meant that you were completely and totally supported? How willing are you to prioritize your worth. The brave path requires that we trust. When hard times hit or we feel really challenged, faith and trust seem to be the things that we just abandon, right? But it's a trust in God. It is a trust in ourselves and life. Just when you think that something isn't going to come through, that something is going to happen, just when you think you are at your wit's end, when you're having the breakdown, something shows up to remind you that all your needs are met. That is the trust walk that we're called to be on right now. When you're rebuilding your life from setback or loss, learning how to trust yourself, you have to build it from the inside out. I am currently working on my trust muscle from a place of doing what I'm doing in the world, from a place of joy and contentment, rather than a place of need. And it's that, as I said before, that tricky kingdom one consciousness of survival when we find ourselves in survival in that fear space. Iyanla Vanzant calls it the building from a place of desire rather than from obligation and fear. So, if you are going through a time or a moment where you're being asked to show up for yourself or for someone else, or you're being asked to activate your bravery and your courage, take a deep breath. Take a pause for a moment. Calm your nervous system. If all we ever do in times like this is calm our nervous system, I'm reminded of the quote from the Bible, trust in the Lord with all your heart and mind and soul. Lean not into your own understanding. It calls us into a deeper knowing. Decide that you are more powerful than you know. Decide that you will walk into the storm with grace and everything will be revealed to you. Think of Joan of Arc as she is riding into battle, knowing that we can do hard things. So the issue is not to just to feel the fear. It is to ask, how do I react to fear? What do I do as a consequence of fear? How do I let this emotion, this energy invade me and disturb my peace? We pray for sanity, for equity, for sustainability, for an awakened humanity. What I know about what's happening in the world and specifically in Ukraine right now is that invasion and profit and power is a paradigm that has no place in a spiritually alive and interconnected world. And that is the work that we are called to do in consciousness right now. Can we put down our guns, our burdens, our struggles? Can we put it down for a moment and tap into that inner life, that inner knowing that something greater wants to happen through each and every one of us? Can we trust that path? I want to close this morning with a quote by Ralph Waldo Trine, who actually influenced Ernest Holmes and inspired Mahatma Gandhi, who wrote a book called In Tune with the Infinite. And this is from 1897. He said, "We are born into a strange time, a time that tries men's souls. Bewilderment and fear hold many. Change and uncertainty stalk through the land, all lands. Those who keep their courage up and go serenely on are coming through in a way that those who weaken or lie down cannot know. But to do this, many lives need help, real, concrete help. There is something in the universe that responds to intrepid thinking, the power that holds and that moves the stars and their courses, sustains, illumines, and fights for the brave and the upright. Courage has power and magic in it. Faith and hope and courage are great producers. We cannot fail if we live always in the brave and cheerful attitude of mind and heart. He alone fails who gives up and lies down. To open ourselves to this sustaining power, to live continually under its guidance, this is our part. Those of us who do our part will keep free from fear and therefore from a weakening, corroding worry. So let us just take a moment to just turn within now, just taking that holy breath. Just reconnecting to that power and that presence and that one life, that one divine intelligence, that one spirit, that one God, that one power, presence that is everywhere, right here and right now. It is the greatest love of all. It is the greatest love there ever will be. And that love and that power and that presence is right where I am. It is right where we are. It is that substance. It is that very essence of who and what we are about. It is the activity of what is happening right here and now in the world of effect. It is happening right here and now for all of those people all over the world who are in the midst of turmoil, of suffering, of what feels like separation. And so I call us back to the remembering of this one inner life, of the power of our consciousness to move and to be about peace, to be about hope, to be about faith, calling us back to that love surrounding the country of Ukraine right here and now, uplifting all of the people there, knowing that divine right action is taking place here and now, that there is something far greater than our conscious mind in this moment that is miraculously bringing peace forth, that is bringing resources, support, reminding us right here and now that we are one, that we are connected, that what happens in one part of the world affects all of us. We are the ones, my friends. And so just bringing in that feeling of love and healing and transformation, transformative healing for that country and all of those being affected by it in the world right now. We come back to this truth, to this knowing, all needs met, coming back to love itself, turning away from the conditions of fear and scarcity and limitation and war, and back to the peace in our minds and our hearts in the midst of that storm, trusting that something greater is prevailing here and now. And so if you feel that in your heart, just breathe it in for a moment. And if there is someone in your life right here and now who is needing a little extra love, support, just say their name out loud right here. We'll just put them in the field of consciousness now. Peace in our minds, peace in our hearts, peace in our country, peace in the world. And so I release my word now into the activation of love itself. I know that all is done right here and now. And let us just declare together, Ashe, Namaste, and so it is. Amen. Peace and blessings.
Thank you, Reverend.
You're
Very enlightening talk. And I had forgotten that you had such strong ties with Ukraine. So, thank you for that unique perspective that you've given us today.
Yeah.
And the reminder that we are the ones.
Truly my joy and honor.
I hope you'll join us for our community conversation at noon, if you're available.
I am. Yeah, I would love it. I hope you all come to the Zoom.
All right. We'll see you there.
Thank you.
Okay. I think we have some announcements coming up. There they are. Yesterday, in case you were not there, we had a gathering in person at the Pioneer Park in St. George. It was wonderful. We had all, I believe there were between 25 and 30 people there, gathered around the fires, eating s'mores, chasing roadrunners and chipmunks, and climbing rocks. It was wonderful. Me and my family certainly enjoyed it. I hope everyone who was there enjoyed it as well. So I know we'll be announcing the next gathering in the next week or so. So stay tuned and hope to see you there. Book club with the hosts Sue and Alan. This is the last week coming up, 6 to 7 on Zoom this Thursday. Again, working on Eric Butterworth's book, The Power Within You, which is a very powerful book if you haven't read it. Even if you're not reading it, feel free to join in with the conversation. Just jump on the Zoom link and join in. And a new book is coming following this one. All right. We love committed giving here at the Center for Spiritual Living St. George. And we believe in spreading the love. And there are many ways that you can do that. You can give online through PayPal. And the link is on the website if you want to do that. Or you can send it by snail mail. You send the checks to CSL St. George at the PO Box. And we thank you for your gifts. Just a reminder that we are here for you. We do have a community care circle, and we are here to support the community. The community care circle provides compassionate support through calls, cards, and prayer. You can send your prayer requests to the email address prayer@cslstgeorge.org, or you can call the number on the screen to receive prayer. Our practitioners are really good at prayer and like to do that. Again, just a reminder that at noon today, we will have the community conversation. The Zoom link is in the newsletter, the Friday reminder, or on the homepage. Just click on the access meeting links and you'll find the way to join us. Hope you'll join us at noon today. Affirmative prayer sessions are available. STAR is going to be available during our Zoom meeting from noon until 1. And Zoom has a feature called a breakout room. And if you want to have prayer, private one-on-one prayer with STAR, you can be sent to a breakout room with her. And of course, it's completely private and confidential. And have a session with STAR. Coming up in the next couple weeks, we have 2 regular speakers, but highly irregular. I like to call them special. Next week, March 6th, Joe Kovach is going to be talking about playing Twister with God. The following week, March 13th, Jeffon Seeley will be back talking about a spoonful of humor is the medicine. So I look forward to seeing both of them in the next few weeks. All right, now it is time for our closing affirmation. So we'll bring everybody back in. All right, I think we're all here. Thank you, Marina.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind, life is in my body, life is in all that I do.
I am it, I embrace it, and I share it.
Just the way that it is.
And just the way that it is becoming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Yay.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here, Savanna. Savanna will be back with us in April, so I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yay.
See you soon.
All right.
12
See you
o'clock.
soon.
Bye, everybody.
See you soon.